Welcome in, Whiskey Freaks, to the Blind Tasting Podcast. I'm John Stark, and I'll be bringing you my take on whiskey news, opinions, and reviews on the industry and the products they've been bringing us for hundreds of years. Today we just get right down to business, guys. We're going to focus on nothing but bourbon-y goodness today, because I've got too many. I've got all kinds of shit to throw your way. And we might just learn something while we're at it. I've got some BOLOs for you, some new releases to be on the lookout from our good friends at Green River Distilling and Limestone Branch Distillery. I want to talk about Bourbon Beyond. That's that epic celebration of whiskey they hold every year in Louisville. I want to talk about a tricky story on Kentucky Owl. It's like a soap opera, guys. Hang on with me. You'll see what I mean. And I asked you guys on social media, what was your first whiskey? And I said, be honest with me. Do you still drink it? You guys responded bigly, and I'm going to talk about it today. I'm going to break it down. And finally, I review the fan favorite and brand new fruity creation from our good friends at Brown-Forman, Jack Daniel's Blackberry whiskey. It's made just for the ladies. Okay, yeah, it is not made just for the ladies, and that's why I'm going to review it today here on the pod. So here's the deal. I've got a new book. Yeah, it's true. It's called Whiskey Wisdom and Bourbon BS, Barrel Strength Legends, Lies, and Untold Tales. And no, it's not just one story. It's dozens of stories, actually over 40 stories. Weird, wild, historical truths. Some of it may be true, some of it absolutely true, some of it ridiculous. Look, I spent way too many hours researching, writing, rewriting, arguing with myself about it. And yes, a questionable amount of bourbon was consumed in that process. Inside this magical little Kindle book, which, by the way, is available right now on Amazon, you'll find bourbon truths, folklore, stories about outlaw distillers, shady marketing schemes, whiskey-fueled inventions, and the kind of whiskey facts that sound made up because some of them just might be. Guys, I pulled this stuff from the weirdest corners of whiskey history. And the coolest part is, each chapter in the book ends with one simple question. Is it whiskey wisdom or is it BS? And you get to be the judge. Now, personally, I think it's best enjoyed with the pour you're about to keep or collect. Either way, there's no judgment here, kids. Just stories, sips, and a whole lot of whiskey-fueled fun. And the best part is, it's cheap. Yeah, I figure, why charge a ridiculous amount for it, right? This book's been a labor of love for me, and I had a blast cranking this thing out. But don't get me wrong. There were plenty of gnashing of teeth, there were headaches, and even a good amount of laughs putting this book together, too. Anyway, go grab a copy. It's on Kindle over at Amazon.com. You'll find the link in the show notes, as always, or just search my name on Amazon, John Stark, S-T-A-R-C-K. Spell that right. Or you can search by the book title, Whiskey Wisdom and Bourbon BS, Barrel Strength Legends, Lies, and Untold Tales. Guys, it's just $10. That's it. For the price of one bad pour at an airport bar or a whole crappy bottle of Benchmark Old No. 8, which you'll get absolutely zero enjoyment out of, you get a whole damn book full of whiskey chaos. It's my kind of chaos, guys. And hey, if you grab a copy today, there's a chance my wife won't leave me. And I might just get to keep making more podcast episodes for all y'all whiskey freaks. It's a win-win, right? Whiskey Wisdom and Bourbon BS, Barrel Strength Legends, Lies, and Untold Tales. Operators are standing by. Yeah, operators are not standing by, but Amazon will take your money. And no, I forgot to say, you can read the book on your Kindle device, and there are other ways to read it without a Kindle. I get so many messages from friends, family, and listeners. Oh, I don't have a Kindle. You don't have to have a Kindle. You don't need a Kindle. Let me say that one more time. You can download the Kindle app. It's free off the internet. Al Gore's amazing internet. It's in the Google Play Store. It's in the Apple Store. And once you download the Kindle app, it works on iPhone, iPad, Android phones, tablets, Google devices, or if you have a computer, you can read it on your computer from Amazon. Anyway, log in with your Amazon account, and then boom, your book is going to be right there. Well, it'll be there after you pay for it anyway. So you've got options. There are no excuses, whiskey freaks. Do it now. But seriously, guys, it means a lot to me. And if you do snag the book, here's what I need you to do. I need you to plop down on the patio, light up a cigar, or don't. I'm not your mom. Pour yourself something good, have a few laughs along the way, and hey, who knows? You might, I said you might, even learn something. That's Whiskey Wisdom and Bourbon BS, Barrel Strength, Legends, Lies, and Untold Tales. And I know it's annoying when dudes do this all, they seem like they just keep hawking and talking and go on and on about their new book. It's aggravating. So in order to avoid this aggravation, just buy the book. Easy peasy, guys. Thanks. So I've got some BOLOs. Be on the lookout. Some new releases. Beyke's Blue Corn Whiskey. Now it's spelled Beyke''S. So it looks to me like Bakeys, right? It is not Bakeys. It is Beyke, like Nike. Beyke's Blue Corn Whiskey. They've crafted a Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey, and this is their words, not mine, that highlights the depth and richness of blue corn, a heritage grain prized for nuance over the standard yellow corn. Now, their first batch is a 6-barrel blend of 6.5-year-old bourbon with a mash bill of 70% blue corn, 21% rye, and 9% malted barley. It's bottled at a glorious 111.5 proof. In my words, it's designed to be rich and powerful, yet complex. They say on the nose, expect wildflower honey, baked blackberry cobbler, cherry cola, charred oak, and subtle rose petals. Not loving that. The palate brings waves of red and purple fruits, buttery caramel, sweet wood sugars, and complementary spices. Okay, there's more. Sorry, guys. As it rests, flavors evolve into blueberry, black raspberry, mint-kissed vanilla cream, smoked oak, and soft pecan nuttiness. Whoa. The finish lingers with black raspberry, chip ice cream, and root beer notes, long and satisfying, and the marketing team doing a fantastic job here. Sounds a little bit bullshitty to me, but it's definitely worth a look, right? Beyke's Blue officially started shipping last week, guys. So if you want to explore a bourbon that's bold, complex, and extremely complicated, according to the notes I read you, and blue corn, this would be the one to watch. I do not have a price on Beyke's Blue Corn straight bourbon whiskey. I apologize for that. Limestone Branch Distillery in Kentucky has launched a line of ready-to-serve bourbon cocktails under its Yellowstone brand. The lineup features Gold Rush, Old Fashioned, and Espresso. And each bottle is a 750 milliliter bottle, and that's roughly 6 standard servings. So each one of them, the Gold Rush, it mixes fig, honey, and lemon with Yellowstone bourbon. The Old Fashioned combines blood orange, bitters, and cherry. And the Espresso cocktail, which sounds amazing to me, blends coffee, vanilla, and raisin with bourbon. And the ABV ranges from 25 to 35%. And the suggested retail price is $24.99 per bottle. And that actually sounds high to me for ready to drink and only 6 servings. $4, over $4 a serving. That sounds a little too high for me. But if any of that hits your fancy, guys, and this is just along the lines of what all the big boys and even some of the smaller cats like Limestone Branch are doing with ready to drink, they're appealing to that younger crowd. They say the launch reflects the growth of ready-to-drink spirits in the United States, which are projected to expand at a 6% compound annual growth rate, which I believe will be even more than that. Through 2028, they say, according to IWSR. I don't know who the hell that is. The bottles are designed to be spill-proof, I guess, so you can, I'm not going to say, recyclable and reusable, aligning with the brand's ongoing sustainability efforts. And don't get me started on that. Fun fact about Yellowstone, though, they also maintain a partnership with the national parks, and this is very cool. The National Parks Conservation Association, and they've raised $1 million for public land conservation since 2018. That's very cool. They say the new ready-to-serve cocktails are now available at select retailers nationwide in the United States, providing a convenient option for bourbon consumers who want pre-mixed cocktails without sacrificing quality. Like I said, sounds good, sounds interesting, sounds a little expensive to me, $25 for 6 servings, but that's just me. I guess you're going to pay $10 to $15 a drink if you go to a bar, but if you want to just chill with your friends at home or sit on the patio, I think you can make your own drink for way cheaper than $5 a pour. But anyway, On to Bourbon and Beyond, the Bourbon and Beyond Festival 2025, and this is the festival is now in its 7th year. The Louisville Festival returns September 11th through the 14th. That's just coming up in a few days, guys. And it features a mix of music, bourbon, food, and, believe it or not, amusement park rides. Yeah, I said that. That's amusement park. Festival passes now include access to 18 rides at Kentucky Kingdom Amusement Park, including the Giant Wheel, Lightning Run roller coaster, and Skycatcher. So I don't know if you'd bring the kids to this. I've never been to it, but maybe if you're an adult that's young at heart, this might be cool. This might appeal to you. And musically, this is the part that would appeal to me most. The festival will showcase a variety of well-known artists. Some of them are well-known. Some of them I don't know. I'm going to highlight a few of the names I do know. They're going to have Fish, Jack White, Ringo Starr and his all-star band, the Goo Goo Dolls, Megan Maroney, she's that new big country music star, Spin Doctors, and look, they're going to have Third Eye Blind, and Pat Benatar. Those are some of the key ones there's like 3 times that many, but those are the ones that meant something to me. And tickets for the festival will vary in price. Single day tickets are starting at $155 and up. And if you want to be a VIP, a single day VIP, starts at $315 a ticket. 4-day general admission pass is $463. A 4-day Mint VIP pass, $950. And the 4-day Angels Envy VIP pass starts at $2,200. All attendees, regardless of age, must purchase a full price ticket, and there is no re-entry. So once you're in, you're in. I'm not really sure how that works, but that's the rule. Bourbon and Beyond continues to combine music, culinary experiences, and Kentucky bourbon culture, making it one of the most comprehensive festival experiences in the region. So say the good folks at Bourbon and Beyond. So if you hit the lottery or you stole a few catalytic converters over the weekend, you might be able to afford this thing, guys. Now, I'd love to go, but I promise you, the wife, even if she is from Kentucky bourbon country, and she is, yeah, not so much. So Kentucky Owl, buckle up for this one, guys. This one sounds like something straight out of a bourbon soap opera. Kentucky Owl. It's that cult bourbon brand that everybody was chasing down a few years back. They're in serious trouble. And the U.S. arm or part of Stoli, and that's the company that now owns them, they've been in Chapter 11 bankruptcy for a while, I think since late last year. And now they've got a plan. They've got this wild plan to get out of that Chapter 11 reorganization bankruptcy and pay off $78 million in debt. How are they going to do that? They're going to pay it off with whiskey. And not just a couple of bottles. We're talking about 35,000 barrels. 35,000 barrels of unfinished bourbon, plus some bottled inventory that they've got. And they're even going to put up a lien on their property in Bardstown that they bought. They promised to make a massive futuristic distillery there and a great tourist attraction. That big shiny project, it just never got built. But here's the twist. Their main lender, Fifth Third Bank, they're not buying it. Literally, the bank says if they go along with this plan, they'll be stuck holding the bag for $60 million. So instead, they want an independent fiduciary to step in and take control. And that's not unusual. We've seen that happening with Garrett County Distilling. And I think even Uncle Nearest has a third party helping them get their shit together and get out of trouble, so to speak. So basically, Fifth Third Bank, they just don't trust Kentucky Owl to handle their assets anymore. Now, if you're wondering how we got to this point, Kentucky Owl was revived. The brand was revived in 2014 by Dixon Dedman, and it quickly became a cult favorite, and then it was sold to Stoli in 2017. They had big dreams. There was big money put into it, big promises, but then the reality hit, as we've all seen, right? The market cooled off. This is crazy. A ransomware attack froze their computer systems. And worse yet, they've been accused of shuffling barrels around without the bank's permission. Never a good idea. It's not exactly a recipe for smooth sipping success. And the scary part, if this plan gets rejected, Kentucky Owl might end up in Chapter 7 bankruptcy, and that's liquidation, meaning everything could be sold off piecemeal, and the brand could then disappear again. And this just isn't a Kentucky Owl problem. We've talked about this. The whole bourbon industry is feeling that squeeze. Inflation, trade barriers, shifting consumer taste most specifically, and good old-fashioned overproduction after the pandemic. So the question is, will Kentucky Owl survive this? How will the soap opera end? Will those 35,000 barrels be the last we ever hear of them? Well, either way, the bourbon world is watching this one very closely. And of course, I'll be watching it closely too. And I'll report back to you guys if I hear any news on this one. Now, this is kind of fun, guys. I asked you all on social media, what was your first whiskey? And I said, now be honest, do you still drink it? And let me tell you, your answers were, I would say, a roller coaster is an understatement. You came back at me with sweet peach moonshine to 94 proof Jack Daniels. I even had some folks who are now sober tossing in their opinions for good measure. Some of you were all in, reminiscing about grandpa's still. That evidently is a thing. Sneaking shots as kids. And then, like I said, those were the folks who were like, I don't drink that shit anymore. And just wait, guys, there's more. I aggregated all the replies. And for those of you with infinity bottles, that means I tallied them up. So I aggregated all your replies into one great big bundle of freaking hilariousness. At least I find it hilarious. And I'm going to share it with you now. First up, you guys were very nostalgic. Some of you started with moonshine flavored with peaches, apples, watermelons, or cherries. And just so you know, cherry came out on top. Y'all said it was smooth and easy on the burn. Cherry moonshine, okay. Then there were stories about growing up around Grandpa Still or family members keeping massive barrels of fortified wine on the front porch. Fortified wine, really? Like, who the hell keeps an entire barrel of wine on the front porch? Well, evidently there are those of you out there that experience that. And to me, that's awesome. One person described whiskey like pancake syrup for breakfast. And that was just for the morning. Others started their whiskey journey with Canadian Mist or Old Crow. But now it's bourbon and rye all the way for you guys. And of course, there were diehard Four Roses fans who've never looked back. And some of the funniest or kind of craziest replies I got, one listener admitted Jack Daniels was my first. He said, I'm 73 now and I'm sober, but back then I spent my cash on whiskey, women, and gambling. Everything else I just wasted. I seem to remember that line from a Midland country music song. Another dude said, shit, I have no idea. That was 49 years ago, but the only booze I drink now is whiskey. And one story, this guy said he was playing cowboys in the saloon as a kid and he was forced to drink a shot of Dad's bourbon. He says, I didn't flinch when I drank it, but my brother, not so much. Pure gold, guys. And I even broke down your responses into trends. Yeah, I want to see what y'all think about whiskey and what better way to do that than right here when I've got all your answers right in front of me, right? My question, what was your first whiskey and do you still drink it today? And I'm going to break down those trends. And the most common trend was first whiskeys. Your first whiskeys over by and large were either Seagram 7, Jim Beam, Jack Daniels, Old Crow. You got some old folks out there, don't we, guys? And Canadian Mist. And the most common current favorites are Jim Beam, Jack Daniels, Angel's Envy. That was a standout. Four Roses and George Dickel. Again, don't hear Dickel a lot, but I did from y'all this time around. And about 20% of you guys have just simply gone sober or quit drinking entirely. So respect to all y'all.
Respect.
Now, believe it or not, some of y'all are actually aging bourbon in barrels at your house. And I've seen that before. I've never really, that bug never really hit me. But hey, do what you do, right? Others, I've learned, still have old bottles from way back in college or in their early adulthood. And then there are the life lessons. People learning from Wild Turkey or 10 High, and folks who drank for decades, but now y'all are sober. And the bottom line is that whiskey teaches lessons. Some of you sip neat, some of you never touch it again. And I want to hit you with a couple quick fire fun facts. Ready? And go. Cherry moonshine beats watermelon and peach apparently. Grandpa's still equals childhood education. Some people can't even sniff Seagram 7 anymore. For me, it's SoCo. And Scotch will always have haters. Look, the evolution of whiskey taste is obvious in these answers from you guys. Whether you're getting sneaky sips as kids, or Canadian Mist in your teens, or Angel's Envy now neat in your adulthood, every bottle you told me about, every bottle tells a story. Tells your story. So whether you're sipping on your first whiskey or holding on to a vintage bottle, or you've been sober for decades, I salute you. And to those still experimenting, try something new. Just maybe not anything from your grandpa still. So you're probably wondering why the hell did you do this little segment? Well, it was for me, first of all, because it's my podcast. But honestly, it's because I love connecting with all you guys. Hearing your stories, your wins, your oh no, not again moments. And it gives me real insight into what you like, what you don't like, and what gets you excited about whiskey. Staying plugged into the whiskey world isn't just about tasting new bottles. It's about the people behind the pours. And this kind of back and forth, this shared storytelling, even though it's on social media. And social media can be a shit show, right? It can be a disaster. But I've had nothing but positive experiences with you guys on social media. And I want to share that with you. And if I have any really terrible experiences, I might share those too. But for now, this is the perfect way to connect with you guys. Learn about your experiences, your laughs, even your cringeworthy first sips. They all matter, and they make this community what it is. So keep sending in your stories, your crazy first whiskey tales, your holy grail bottles, whatever it happens to be, because every time you share, it makes this podcast better. It makes me better, and it keeps all of us connected in this wild, wonderful world of whiskey. Now, all right, whiskey freaks, let's get to the fun part now. My review. Today, I'm cracking open, and this just came out a few weeks back, the all-new Blackberry Jack Daniel's whiskey. Now, I don't want any flack here, guys. I stick pretty hard to the hard stuff. But the wife and I wandered into the liquor store together, and wouldn't you know, we came out with some of this fruity whiskey. So I figure, hell, it's all bought and paid for, right? So why not review it here on the pod? And so here we are. And really for good reason anyway. I've already mentioned this earlier in the podcast episode today. Think about this trend for the younger generation, Gen Z or whatever, right? They're going away from hard liquor into ready to drink, flavored stuff. And this recent berry-infused spirit thing is definitely dominating the summer liquor store shelves. Blackberries are a standout late summer flavor. And quite frankly, it's about my favorite flavor stuff, whether it be Ale 81. I've talked about that before when we poured some of that into some Rebel 100 to make it drinkable. Whether you're talking about jelly or jam or really anything, Blackberry is my go-to. So I was stoked that the wife was really stoked about this. And so this just came out. So that brings us to where we are today. So needless to say, Jack Daniel's jumped on this trend with this brand spanking new Tennessee Blackberry whiskey. It's a 70 proof, 35% ABV infusion of their classic old number 7 Tennessee whiskey with blackberry liqueur. The company is Brown-Forman, our good friends at Brown-Forman. The distillery is Jack Daniel's, and the bottle. Now, other than the fact that the bottle contains purple juice or blackberry colored whatever, it looks just like a regular bottle of Jack Daniel's. Same shape, same size, the whole bit, 750 milliliters. It's priced right at $22. You can get it at Walmart. You can get it at most of your liquor stores for right about that same price as well. And today I'm tasting with a rocks glass, my custom-made blind tasting podcast etched rocks glass, because I say this stuff deserves respect. Respect to Mr. Jack Daniel. Because fun fact, guys, this is Jack's birth month. And so here's the deal. It's crazy, actually. His exact birth date is unknown. For a guy this famous, right? That'd be like saying, Orville and Wilbur Wright. We don't know when they were born, right? This is the guy, the man, the dude, right? We don't know the exact day this guy was born. And some people will even argue the year he was born. So, good news. We celebrate the entire month of September on his behalf. Now, side note, I'm going to tell you some info about when and where I think he was born and died and the cause of his death, which all this stuff is argued about all the time. I'm going to touch on this in a future episode, so I'm not going to belabor it here now. Just know we celebrate Jack Daniel all month, and today we celebrate by raising a glass of Blackberry infused Jack Daniels. It says right here on the bottle, it's Tennessee Blackberry original recipe, Blackberry liqueur, blended with Jack Daniel's Tennessee whiskey. I already mentioned that it's a respectable 70 proof, and I'm going to crack this bottle open right now and get a pour. All right, let's find out if this is going to be the next new Coke. Remember new Coke, guys? Is it going to be the next new Coke, or will it be the next guilty pleasure that you're definitely not admitting to your buddies? Okay, the color, as you would expect, and again, I'm not going to belabor this either, right? I'm not going to talk too much about this. In the bottle, it almost has a pink hue to it. In the glass, it has it's just the slightest pink hue to it. It's still mostly like a straw yellow. I don't think it really matters what it looks like, guys, right? The color, do we really care? Yeah, I didn't think so. So I'm not going to talk about how the darker the hue of the whiskey and all that good stuff, right? Let's get right to the nose. Nope, this is exactly what you would think. It's fruity. The slightest bit of alcohol on the nose, but not much. And it smells like blackberries. I mean, that they have... There are no other words. It smells like blackberries. So that's good news, right? Let's get into a sip on this. So the first thought, and I'm just, the first thought that jumps into my head is medicine. I'm not trying to be disrespectful here, but my first thought was, I'm drinking medicine. I'm going to take a few more sips during this tasting because I want to give it its fair shot. But so far, not great. So far, not great. Right? Let me get another sip. Maybe doing the Kentucky Chew will help. Okay, it's better. The second sip is better than the first. That's often true when you're drinking any whiskey or bourbon. Your first sip is just going to kind of set your taste buds, and then as you go through your tasting, let me get another sip here, guys. There isn't really much going on here other than kind of this blackberry medicinal type of flavor. Okay. Yeah, I don't want to give away my verdict at the moment, so I'm going to take one more sip. I know I'm killing you guys. I know I'm killing you. Let me take one more sip. Well, you're probably wondering, what is my verdict? Well, I have the answer for you right after the money spot. Are you looking to update your bar or man cave with some great photographs or wall art? Head over to Etsy at famousdocs.etsy.com and pick up some fantastic prohibition, bourbon, whiskey, and gangster-related photographs and art. Okay, guys, you got to check this stuff out. They've got Al Capone, John Dillinger, Bonnie and Clyde, all kinds of cool photos over there from Prohibition. And if you purchase 4 or more items at one time, you'll get 20% off your entire order. That's famousdocs.etsy.com. famousdocs.etsy.com. So we know on the Blind Tasting Podcast, we have 3 verdict options. Are we going to keep it? Are we going to collect it? Or are we going to cull it? To keep it means to proudly display it in your liquor cabinet or bar. This stuff is good for a pour anytime, but there's really no need to stock up on it because you can always get your hands on it. Collect it. Grab another bottle or maybe two since you find it so darn delicious, or it just may not be easy to obtain. Or Cull It. Use it to loosen rusty bolts or sanitize a dirty toilet. In the case of Jack Daniel's Blackberry, I say keep it, kind of begrudgingly. In fact, hang on. I am going to do something here. I found that this often solves a bourbon or whiskey problem. I just happen to have some ice. And lemonade. We're going to add some lemonade in the proper proportions here. And I'm going to drink a sip of this stuff now. Fixed it right up, guys. Look, truthfully, I thought this was going to taste like somebody dropped blackberry syrup into Jack. It's actually a little bit lighter and sweeter than I expected. It's more like a berry... Well, when I put it in lemonade, it's more like a berry soda splash. And that makes it delicious. Honestly, don't sip it straight, right? It's got just the slightest bit of medicinal. If you ever had an ear infection when you were a kid and you had to take the pink medicine, you know what the pink medicine is? I don't know what it's called, right? It was the pink medicine, right? It's got just the slightest bit of tinge of that kind of flavor to it. And that's kind of a turnoff for me because I think about, an ear infection. But add a little lemonade, add an extra splash of the Jack Daniel's Blackberry, put some ice cubes in the glass, and I think this is pretty damn delicious. Let me get another sip. Yeah, this stuff, it's fantastic, but don't sip it straight. And look, it's really less about whiskey with berries, and it's really more about berries with just a whisper of whiskey in there kind of tagging along. There weren't really any tasting notes other than blackberry. And they got the on the nose, they got it right. The nose is just straight up blackberries, deliciousness. It reminds me, when I mix it here in my lemonade, it reminds me more of like a wine cooler or like a hard seltzer than something that would come from Jack Daniel's. Now, I'm sure you could probably trick somebody into thinking this was like a canned cocktail instead of a whiskey product. And I think that's really the name of the game right now with RTD and the younger crop of drinkers or non-drinkers that they're trying to reach out to. This is a sweet treat, done right, mixed the right way, in the right glass with the right, you could use Sprite, maybe fruit punch. Probably not fruit punch, but maybe seltzer, right? This is a sweet treat for guys and girls alike. Now, understand, this isn't for the dude who's drinking barrel-proof whiskey every day, and they're just hell-bent on, I'm only drinking the hazmat stuff. Okay, this is for somebody who maybe wants an easy step up from White Claw, and I say that with all due respect to White Claw. It feels to me, and Jack Daniel's has done a great job here in one respect, and it feels to me like they're not aiming at whiskey fans here. They're aiming at people who want something fruity and boozy, like at a tailgate. Like the Gen Zers, the younger crowd, the uninterested guys and gals that they want them to become interested and kind of bring them into the fold. This would be an amazing way to do that. And I say if that's what it takes to bring folks into the fold or get them saying the words Jack Daniel's, then why not? It tastes okay on its own, but it tastes great in a cocktail. It's super cheap, and everybody, as long as you like the flavor of blackberry, can get their drink on and have a good time with it. For me, going into this, I figured this would be a whiskey I'd drink neat just to review it. But honestly, it didn't work out that way for me, like I said. But in a cocktail, this is, especially mixing it with lemonade, I'm absolutely loving it. So if you're hardcore and you want whiskey, manly whiskey, yeah, this isn't it. If you want blackberry punch that happens to have whiskey in it, well, then pour away. I mean, this might not impress whiskey nerds or geeks, but throw it over ice at a cookout, nobody's going to complain. Whiskey freaks, y'all have full permission to enjoy this blackberry liqueur from our good friends at Jack Daniel. And at the end of the day, isn't this what it's all about? It's about the sipping. It's about the summer in a bottle. And good news, Jack Daniels is riding shotgun. Last but not least, I got to give a shout out to the farmers, the distillery production guys and gals, the warehouse workers, the bottlers, and the truck drivers, because without them, nothing happens, guys. They make it all happen. So cheers to all of them. Well, that's all I got for today, Whiskey Freaks. Thanks for listening to the Blind Tasting Podcast, your #1 attitudinal bourbon destination.